Welcome to She Blaze, where we're bringing you cannabis culture from a woman's point of view. And as always, here to elevate the cannabis industry. I'm one of your hosts, Ice Dawson, Cannabis Socialite.
And I am Dasheeda Dawson, the WeedHead.
Yes, you are the WeedHead.
Hey, girl.
And welcome. So on today's episode of She Blaze, we're discussing Dion Waiter's panic attack, a recent Chicago public housing announcement, and an update on Michigan's legal cannabis market.
Okay. Yes, we got some real hot topics this week. But before we get to the hot topics, you know I got to kick things off with the high of the week. Yay. Okay, so my high of the week, I'm going to grab it right quick, is actually coming from the Real Cannabis Entrepreneur Summit that I attended a couple weekends ago. And I was just so excited by all of the speakers. They were amazing. But more importantly, I'm always excited about new products, new entrepreneurs in space. Absolutely. And so I want to shout out the Lily Pearl Beauty Company because I tried the infused body mousse. Mm-hmm. It has 40 milligrams of CBD infused or from pure full spectrum hemp extract. And Sabrina, who is a brown girl, is the formulator and the owner. And honestly, this goes on like butter.
It does, because you know it is dry out here, so we need some extra layers.
Absolutely. So I was really excited to pick that up. I met her first at NECAN in Atlantic City, and I'm just so excited because there she came to our booth, and then at the Real Cannabis Entrepreneur, she had her own booth and she was vending. So
well, that's super exciting. We know you love budding entrepreneurs in the cannabis industry, but my high of the week is still the same thing, actually. Animal Kush Cookies is like, crumble is like the best to me. I am now dabbing it. As you know, it is no blunt November.
Okay.
So I am bluntless, and I've been bluntless. So I've been trying to build up my tolerance for MJ BizCon. So the best way is to do a dab in around the 7 to 9 time period of the night. And then I am up and working for the rest of the evening.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
so you are using dabs. And of course, we got to bring the people what they want, which they want to know more about your crumble, your butter, your wax, and what we're doing. But real quick, just why are you, like, what are you getting out of No Blunts November?
Well, No Blunts November is just a quick way to save a little bit of money for the holiday season, so you know I could get my presents. We're actually, I've probably saved about $30 to $50 this month with November.
Oh wow!
And yeah, so I haven't smoked any blunts. Really, primarily using bowls, bongs, rigs. Really looking at the glass options. It also helps you. When you go to like cannabis consumption event, they always have a dab bar. No matter what, at least one person is gonna have a dab bar. You do not want to be the person that's choking all over the rig. It's not fun.
That's a flag on the play, y'all. Okay.
Party foul.
And I want to shout out Andrew from Top Shelf Bud Tending. We have used him a few times, but he also left a few tips for folks when you are going to these parties at MJ BizCon. You might want to pick up a little packet of alcohol swabs because nobody's cleaning the rigs, y'all. That's nasty.
Well, I think it depends on which ones you're attending. Okay. To be fair, since I've been in Nevada and the cannabis events I've gone to, consumption events, they are using alcohol wipes and actual alcohol. They have cotton tips for their ear swabs. So, you know, personally to me, you got to know what party you're attending, but he's right. If you don't know, have your alcohol wipes on deck, okay?
Yes, I think if you're traveling and you're intending to consume, that is always something good to have. Well, girl, I'm excited. I'm going to have to... I think one of these weeks, my high of the week might be a dab, actually.
Okay, well, okay.
We'll see. Well, that was amazing. Please be sure to put your high of the week in the comments. We want to look for it. And in fact, in 2020, we're going to do some giveaways for the best highs of the week.
Oh, yeah. Yes, you know, we love giving away stuff.
We do, but we always have a lot of it. But what we're going to give away next are these hot topics, okay?
Oh, girl. Well, you know, I had to go on and give the people an update on Massachusetts because really we have some air breaking news. Like literally we were on the air while the news broke, and so I just want you to kind of just explain a little bit further. So the judge did exempt medical marijuana patients from the vape ban the governor enacted, but are they now allowed to use vapes?
Unfortunately, while we were very excited as we were reporting about it, we are excited about the precedent that is being set. The judge basically said, hey, the governor can't decide that for medical marijuana patients, but the Cannabis Control Commission can. And what the Cannabis Control Commission essentially did while we were on the air was the news broke that they decided to not ban the vapes, but rather to quarantine them. At this point, I think that they understand that the vape ban is probably a little extra. And the thought is, you know, we need to do a little bit more research just to make sure that patients are getting the best possible product. Now, that being said, on the consumer side, it still feels like a ban because guess what you can't buy? You can't buy vapes.
I'm glad you're there for that clarification because I was a little confused. I'm like, okay, so quarantine. So does that mean anything produced after this date we can't get it, or are we just not allowed to get it at all? So it's a little confusing with the wording, to be fair.
No, I think that they wanted to use a different word than ban because ban does sound pretty harsh, and the governor did so with a time frame of 4 months, but really didn't have a reason why. It was like, oh, we just think all of them are bad, so let's ban them. Right. So I respect that the Cannabis Control Commission was trying to do something slightly different. To your point, though, from a consumer perspective, it doesn't matter because you still can't shop it. It's still not available, and they did not do what you suggested, which is if there's a quarantine, maybe it's production quarantine from this point to this point. That happens often when crops are bad. You quarantine that time period of harvest. In this case, I don't believe that the Cannabis Control Commission actually did put some parameters around the quarantine. But what I will say is also late and breaking news. The governor called a public hearing this week for people to come out and be able to talk about how the vape ban has impacted them as far as the cannabis community is concerned.
Well, we know how Latifah won't live out there. I'm just kidding.
Shout out to Latifah. No, because she knew her vape. So she shot from the legal market.
Okay, y'all. She is a medical marijuana patient, and she will tell you she was the first medical marijuana patient in the family.
Absolutely. So shout out for her showing us the way. But yeah.
Phoenix, Arizona. So let's head to Phoenix now that we're talking about it. Dion Waiters, he is, I know you might not know, he is an NBA basketball player that plays on the Miami Heat. He was on a flight from Phoenix, Arizona to Los Angeles, where it was reported that he had a seizure-looking panic attack thing. Basically, he said that he took a THC-infused edible before the flight, and he woke up and he had a panic attack. But there were just several different reports saying it was a seizure, a panic attack. You know, I'm not here for the propaganda, so we got to talk about it.
Of course. Yo, I was so disappointed. First of all, I'm sad that I didn't know who this person was until this situation happened. So, Dion, I hope that you are okay. And this is no shade to you at all. I do not want to criminalize his activity. At the end of the day, I feel like he has probably given the quote that makes the most sense, which is, I woke up and, had a panic attack, but we don't know that that was due to the edible. We don't know what he's allergic to. And to be honest, when I heard the seizure part, that's when I felt like this is another case of people trying to use marijuana, THC, cannabis, whatever you're calling it, as the scapegoat.
For sure.
Okay. And I'm tired of us being the scapegoat. And in 2020, we're not here for it, y'all.
Stop it. Stop you in mid-track.
Yes. We will stop you in your mid-track, and we will say that's not right. So one thing I will say, I can't say what happened to him, but what I do know is that right now, cannabis is the only FDA-approved drug. Right now, there is an FDA-approved drug on the market that is helping resolve epileptic seizures. So I recently posted on my social media a little kid who was having a seizure, and his mom rubbed CBD oil on his gums. In a matter of minutes, the seizure subsides. So I highly doubt that he had a seizure, and I highly doubt that if he did have a seizure, it was related to cannabis. And in fact, he probably okay because he was taking cannabis. To
be honest, yes, absolutely. He's an NBA player, so they have a lot of pain impact on their body. I guarantee you there's not one NBA player right now that's not on prescription drugs. So anything you could have taken could have affected it. I'm tired of cannabis automatically making us the bad guy, the gateway, the this. It's unacceptable. We're not here for it next year. So put that in your reference book.
Next. Okay.
Next announcement, which is heading us to Chicago, as Chicago's public housing authority reminded its households that it is still illegal to use cannabis under federal law, even if it is medicinal or adult use.
I saw that and I had to have a moment of silence, but I also really did want to scream for a second, because it's like, what are we doing? Public housing is one of those places that it impacts all walks of life. A lot of people don't realize.
Most people think that public housing is just Section 8 only, which I think is like the hardest part of accepting this. A lot of public housing is senior disabilities, things like that, older people. I know for a fact all of my grandparents lived in public housing, which was a senior living apartment.
Right.
That's public housing. If you have adult disabilities, that's public housing. It's not just Section 8.
Yeah. So it's impacting over 60,000 households in the Chicago area, and best believe a good majority of them are people of color. And that's the part that's actually making me a little bit like,
well, is it an attack on us, people of color? Because they didn't say Illinois' public housing, because they probably got public housing outside of Chicago, right?
Yes.
And they're probably a little bit more diverse than Chicago, maybe. I'm not sure, but who are they really trying to attack in this area?
You know what? I thought about the same thing. We finally legalized. It's in a state that has both a medical and adult use program, and the people who probably need it quite a bit medically will not be able to consume, because they can actually lose all of their assistance. Basically, what the Chicago Housing Authority has said is they can terminate all assistance if you, a member of your household or a guest or any person under your control, is found engaging in drug-related activity. And in fact, they're still calling it criminal activity. So I just feel like this is one of those moves where we have one step forward and then a few steps back, especially for people of color and the people and the communities that have been most devastated by this being prohibited to begin with.
So they're telling me that my grandmother has a medical marijuana card, but she got to go somewhere else that's not her home to use her medicine?
Basically. Or she could lose her privileges. I won't call them privileges, her assistance. At the end of the day, I think that that's something that Chicago, Illinois in general needs to push back. I want to shout out Edie Moore, who's the executive director of Chicago Normal, as well as Kiana Hughes. I mean, the team on the ground is pretty awesome, and they've put in place, again, some of the best legislature we've seen around cannabis, but this is something that we need to take it to the Chicago Housing Authority.
We about to take it to these streets because y'all trying us now.
Yes, they are, but you know what? The reason that they're trying is because ain't nothing happening on the federal level.
Okay.
And that is what was clear here. The Housing Authority was like, it's still federally illegal. And to some degree, they are in their right to put that out there, because that's true.
Well, let's talk about the federal legality of cannabis right now.
Okay.
This topic is flooding the streets, and I'm seeing so many different things. So, I got to clarify.
Yes.
And have you tell us this bill that they're talking about, elaborate, tell us what is helping us, changing us. Are we really actually celebrating a win here, or is this celebrating a free throw?
You are not a free throw.
I'm just saying, it's a free point. Are we over celebrating a free point because it's a free point? Got you.
No, I think these are all valid questions. And of course, no shade to our community that has actually, we've overcome a hurdle. But imagine that this is like the 100-meter hurdles. We just got over one, okay? So we got a few more to go before we get to the finish line. So what actually happened is that there was a key committee in the House that basically has passed the MORE Act. And MORE stands for Marijuana Opportunity and Reinvestment and Expungement Act. Okay, of 2019. It is the most comprehensive bill we've seen on a federal level. Essentially, it is going to legalize cannabis federally. It also provides for opportunities for small business. Now you can get loans and grants, and then there's expungement on a federal level and assistance for that expungement as well. So on paper, it is very exciting. But what really happened? All that clickbait, what really happened? Well, it was just a committee in the House that said, hey, we're passing it through so that the House can actually vote on it. So it didn't even pass the House fully yet.
Wow.
It just got through to that first step. And guess what? Even if it does pass the House, it still has to do these same exact steps in the Senate. And the Senate right now has a lot more opposition than the House. So while we are celebrating, and I think we should, I wrote that I'm not doing a jig yet because we still have a very long way to go. But this is historical. We've never been this close, and we've never had these steps. And so I think we should be proud, and I think that we should be excited around the work, but that doesn't mean we let up off the gas, y'all. In fact,
we should push harder on the gas.
We should push harder.
Because we know that if we are voting people in, like Imani said, we will vote you out if you are not talking about cannabis legalization and social justice, medicinal or adult use, and real legalization, not like this little, reverse remix farm bill.
You are hilarious. No, we do want real legalization. We definitely need to come back to this as a main topic because there's so much to really unpack. But the good news is we're on the board. We got the point on the board. But we are, what is it? 3rd and 2, 3rd and short. We got to keep moving. Probably 3rd and long.
Oh, girl. No, we like quarter 1. Like we in the first quarter of the game.
All
we
these
got
sports references.
Right. We just we need to tell them that their players need cannabis. So
that's true too.
We're comparing it for you guys as we see that their players need cannabis, and when they don't have access to cannabis, this is what happens.
Oh, yes. Shout out to Dion again. I hope that you are feeling better.
Well, we got to end these topics because we are going off right now.
Yes.
Like, it's the end of the year, and we are checking y'all, so next year y'all don't try us.
You are funny. But you're right, though. I'm at that point where now it is 4 years in the game. Cannabis is clearly sort of the clickbait, as you said, and it's the buzzword, but I am over new people jumping in or wanting to be adjacent to it, but you're not really respecting it. And, it is important for the leaders of the industry to start actually saying, nah.
Not okay.
Nah.
This is we're gonna end this trend right now.
Yes. Well, speaking of trends, not too long ago we were talking about there was a big trend on cannabis being legalized, but then the market stalling. And so I definitely want to jump into our main topic.
Okay, because they was listening. Somebody in Michigan was listening to us talk about what's stalling legal cannabis markets, which was episode 10 of the season.
Yes.
So it was real recent. They heard us and they was like, oh, let's make an announcement. So the Marijuana Regulatory Agency, MRA, made an announcement that residents of the state of Michigan will be able to purchase cannabis from retail establishments beginning of December 2019 legally.
Yes. I mean, we predicted, we were talking about 12 months. I even think I said 18 months because the applications just became available November 1st. So to hear this, I'm a little shiggity shocked, right? Of course. And I'm sure a lot of people got a lot of questions, but that wasn't the only announcement. And so I felt it was so important for us to really dig into Michigan because I see them rolling down a path that we've seen in previous states. And I tell them to slow their road just a little bit.
Well, we definitely got to talk about it. So I know you guys are wondering, well, how does Michigan have the ability to have adult use so quickly? Well, they are basically grandfathering in their medical marijuana licenses and allowing them, the establishments, the first dibs on adult use.
Yeah, and I think that that's always under the presumption that these entities will be able to serve the market. But if I'm being real, and I have shopped the Michigan market, the medical market for Michigan was one of the largest in the country, over 300,000 patients, and they definitely still have a shortage on the types of products and even the flower available. So where all of a sudden, when you got to harvest a specific amount of time, is all this flower and all this product going to come from?
Well, they're really about to pull it out the buku. Who knows? However, can we just talk about the second announcement? Because maybe this product appears out of thin air, but how far you got to go to get this product?
No, that's true. So the other thing that kind of worries me about this developing market is in the same week that they announced December 1st would be retail sales open, we also found out that 79% of the state's municipalities have essentially banned businesses, cannabis businesses, from opening. So if you want to cultivate, if you want to manufacture, if you want to sell cannabis, 79% of the municipalities, including Detroit, you will not be able to do that there. That was when I was like, oh, hell no, what is going on?
I don't know, but I got some questions.
Okay. What's the questions?
Basically, if your community is not allowed to use cannabis, what happens to the revenue of cannabis in the area?
Or in the state?
In the state.
Well, you miss out. So basically, there is a share of the 10% tax in the adult use marijuana sales that these municipalities will not have access to. And as Detroit is very much a colored city, if you will, and in need of much revitalization, I'm a little bit annoyed for them because essentially that city will not get access to this tax revenue.
Oh my goodness, that's crazy to even hear that. So are they still allowed to consume cannabis in that area?
Yeah. Okay, so the municipalities banning it is really from the seller or the business perspective. They cannot ban your ability to smoke it, although, we never know because Chicago did just basically do that for public housing.
Right.
So, again, they stay trying us, but essentially right now, as is written, you can consume cannabis if you are in a municipality that is banned it, but you probably gonna have to drive quite a lengthy a journey just to get there. So I have been in Michigan and I've shopped a few different dispensaries and there are not a lot of them. And we saw California just had the same issue. So you may think 79%, wow, that's really high. It is. It's even higher than California, which was at 64%. And what we saw is their underground or illegal or legacy markets have basically done a lot better. Why? Because people don't want to drive more than 20, 30 minutes to stand in line at a dispensary.
That's wrapped outside of the corner. They're usually wrapped around the corner too. Like I know in Nevada, every time we go to the cannabis market, it is literally mad people.
Yes. But there's a dispensary right down the block. In the same thing, Colorado, there's a dispensary down the block. So if I don't want to stay there, I can move. Yeah. The issue is with these municipalities opting out, there isn't a dispensary right around the block. This may be your only option to get it legally. And so what this is only going to do is continue to perpetuate the legacy market in the Michigan state. And to be honest, I feel like that means in Detroit. And I'm disappointed because I feel like this is, again, taking one step forward. We legalized it and like a million steps back. It's also really important for me to share that while the communities voted to legalize it, it is actually individuals who are the municipality leaders or politicians that are voting to ban it.
I'm glad you spoke on that.
Yes.
Because it's not the people. So what can the people do to reverse this? Because I mean, like, if I live in Detroit and I know I put money to try and do something within the cannabis industry and now I can't, I would want to figure out what's the next step.
Well, I think the very first step, if you are looking to be an entrepreneur in the industry, whether you're touching the plant or not, you need to get out and advocate. So if you haven't already joined Minorities for Medical Marijuana, what are you waiting for? It's only $100 for an annual membership. Shout out to Simone Kasana. She's our Michigan State president. She's also one of the commissioners that is giving out licenses. And to be honest, she's a wealth of information. So she will be able to help you on the ground. As far as I'm concerned, we need to get out and let the politicians know that voted to ban this, that we don't agree. And that if they are not willing to change what they put in place, then they will be voted out. At the end of the day, this is one of those things where, they get to kind of control it. I want to shout out the majority leader, Crystal Peoples-Stokes in New York, because she fought for the bill for New York's cannabis legalization to say that the opting out of municipalities cannot happen just politically. One person is not allowed to say that. You need to get your municipality to vote on that again in New York if you want to opt out with the way that our New York bill is written. So I know Michigan is not written like that, but it does at least remind me that you can compel politicians to do what you want. And right now, if you're in Detroit, especially fam, you need to get out and you need to get the word out, because Detroit is going to miss out on a lot of tax revenue. You're going to have to drive really far, excuse me, into other neighborhoods to get your cannabis. And ultimately, if you did buy any real estate there, you're going to have a difficult time getting that into the business.
Wow, that is completely insane. And I just cannot believe that they're actually doing this in Michigan. And in some of the areas, this is a big tourist hub. I mean, 30 Under 30 was in Detroit. Yep. There was the NAACP in Detroit this year. So there's been a lot of things that's happening in Detroit. People are looking to purchase cannabis, and now they won't be able to, or they have to go really far from their hotel.
Yes, they would have to go really far. Canada is right there, might I add. So we know Canada is legal, so there's always that risk as well. I think if you're a business owner and you're asking what next, the last thing I would say is, this is why I wrote my book. Okay, How to Succeed in the Cannabis Industry is going to take you from the rooter to the tutor about everything in the industry. But I focus really heavily on those ancillary businesses, because you may be in a situation like this. So what happens if you cannot move in your particular municipality? You need to look to ancillary, and that includes education. Perhaps you may want to transportation. People are going to, especially when you think about the baby boomers, people are going to want that support getting to the dispensary. So maybe you're transporting people, and that doesn't mean they're smoking on the way back, but you literally are a van that goes to the dispensary on a certain time frame and comes back. That's definitely going to be a big opportunity.
Especially in those freezing temperatures.
Oh gosh, we didn't even get into that. Okay, I definitely think transportation is going to be big. But the last but not least is, let's talk about the fact that hemp and marijuana are under two different regulatory structures. So if you have a building already, if you started setting it up because you thought, hey, I'm going to be prepared and I'm going to submit my application, well, guess what? You can actually do what you want to do with hemp first and get in there and advocate and get the municipalities to change their mind.
I know that's right. Well, if you guys need to know how, Minorities for Medical Marijuana is definitely where you want to see how to do it.
Yes, absolutely. So again, join our network and pick up the book. It's in pre-order.
Okay. And speaking of picking up the book, pre-order Minorities for Medical Marijuana. We're just giving away Where in the World Do We Had to Be.
I know, but this is an exciting Where in the World Is the WeedHead, because we are moving into 2020, and I am so excited to announce my Sharing Success in Cannabis book tour. I will be touring the country, really the world at this point, until June of 2020, sharing my success and your success in the cannabis industry.
I know, that's right.
And we are kicking this tour off at the MJ BizCon week.
Yes, Yay. This is a huge week in Las Vegas, Nevada. It's still so crazy to me. MJ BizCon was literally one of my first conferences I went to in the cannabis industry. Mm-hmm. It was the thing that made me be like, oh, I gotta do this. I gotta be in the industry. That was the the light to ignite me.
Yes.
And then last year, basically, we went to MJ BizCon. David got to experience for the first time. Next thing you know, a year later, we live here and we're taking over the market.
Oh, we're trying to really help support the market do better. I think that there's a lot of need for more community in Vegas, and I'm excited to be a part of MJ BizCon. We kick things off. It is a week long of activities. We kick things off with the M4MM Association Day on Tuesday, December 10th. This is a free event. You do not have to be a registered attendee to the MJ BizCon. You can come to our Association Day, which I believe kicks off at 1:30 p.m. And part of Association Day is yours truly. I will be doing a one-on-one fireside chat, and I'm very excited because we'll be taking you through the book, Sharing Success in Cannabis. And of course, I will have my book, How to Succeed in the Cannabis Industry, there with signed copies. You have to pre-order it in order to get your signed copy. So you want to go to the weedhead.com/shop to pre-order your book now.
Okay. Definitely order your book now. right now we are doing big things. There are going to be panels, some other workshops, and then on Wednesday.
Yes.
Yes.
She's skipping a week.
I did skip a week. On Wednesday, the 11th, we are having the M4MM Dice Mixer at the Palms Palace. It is a beautiful penthouse suite, super exclusive, Black excellence in the cannabis industry everywhere. And there's a balcony in that suite, girl. Yes, so we will be able to consume outside, which is a big deal in cannabis mixers, if you guys don't know.
Yes, it is. It's a huge deal. But more importantly, you're going to be able to do that with some of the top people of color in the industry. And I'm excited to be there with She Blaze, asking people what they're high on. So definitely do stop by and make sure that you get your tickets, because it is invite only and you must RSVP.
Sorry, you guys, but you still have all the way up leading to that time too. So we want to get y'all as soon as possible, because those tickets will sell out. It is a
It's not a game. And I'll be real, this is one of those things where even though you may know where it is, we cannot let you in at the door. So you want to get your ticket. So that brings us to Thursday.
Yes, Thursday. I was obviously clearly excited because She Blaze is going to be on Podcast Row.
Yes, we'll be at MJ BizCon. And of course, we'll be talking about all the tea and cannabis.
You know I'm already digging up all of the hotness. I already know who's exhibiting, who's speaking, and we're going to have some great information, and we're going to try and get some people to come visit us
of
too.
Of course, yes.
Say hi.
Yes, and do a little interviewing.
And that special episode will be 60 minutes long.
Yes. Yeah, we're going to take it to an hour.
We're taking it to an hour, y'all.
Speaking of time, we probably need to wrap up our time right now.
We got to get on out of here because we playing for MJ BizCon, but hit us up in your comments and in our likes. Subscribe to She Blaze on social media, and we're on audio, iTunes, SoundCloud,
and iHeartMedia, y'all.
Okay, yes. So we'll see you guys next.
Oh, actually, you know what? This is our last episode of the season. So we are going to see you guys in the next few weeks. We have some special episodes in store for you. But to be perfectly honest, it's about to be holiday season. So we're going to get our turkey on.
Yes, and I might come back a little bit 10 pounds thicker.
And we're going to get our Christmas and our Kwanzaa on.
You already know.
And then we will be back with season 3 at the beginning of January. But okay, don't fret, because of course, like I said, we got some special episodes for you.
We got the special episodes. Y'all better check. We will be at MJ BizCon, which is a special episode.
Absolutely. So continue to follow us. And if you're not already doing so, subscribe at theweedhead.com, y'all.
All right. See you later.
Bye.